So we're getting ready to meet, and she's probably going to be upset. I can't imagine starting off a marriage on two wrong feet. What I want now is for us to both be adults. My mind's made up. Liz, my mind's made up. Regardless, my mind is made up. I don't know what to expect out of you. Oh, she hung up.
What's good, homies? Another week, another episode of cringy Big Ed content. Today is short and sweet, I will admit, but we get to see Big Ed's D-bag side just come out to play. That's really the only way I can describe this episode, so make sure you watch until the very end if you enjoy my Big Ed reactions and want to help out the channel, and consider liking the video if you haven't already. Anyways, let's get right on into it, shall we?
The taco pasta argument, or it wasn't even an argument, it was her screaming at me. It let me know to my core that this was never gonna work.
So we once again hear Big Ed bringing up this fight or this screaming match that he got into with Liz that is apparently the reason that he no longer wants to continue moving forward with this marriage. Again, I said in the last episode, it's very convenient that this was all only around his family, where there's nobody that would be on Liz's side to, tell their side of the story, and also there was no video cameras there. So Ed can act like he was so terrified and he got screamed at, and it was just so cruel to be yelled at like that in front of his family, but really we don't know what went down. And honestly, judging from Big Ed's track record, I'm not taking his words at face value, as usually he retells these stories with him being the good guy when clearly he's been the career villain throughout his entire life.
When I decided I wanted to call off the wedding, I called my officiant, TC immediately calling her and giving his condolences. I can see how it may have caught her off guard.
And this moron makes the biggest understatement I have ever seen. He says, I can see how Liz getting a call out of the blue from the guy who was supposed to officiate our wedding, announcing to her that the wedding was no longer happening. He's saying, I guess that could probably throw her off a tiny bit. It's like, dude, she thought she's gonna be spending the rest of her life with you. She threw away her career and uprooted her life across the country to move in next to your annoying family and be living with you for the rest of your life. And now you're calling off the marriage for some reason. He thinks that he's been yelled at, but truly, if anything, I think there was a reason to yell at the guy, because again, Liz was just standing up for her daughter.
Liz and I have not spoken in person since I called off the wedding. She's probably going to be upset, but I do owe her a face-to-face.
And he's just framing this, trying to set us up for us to see Liz in a bad light, when really, he's the one that's calling off the wedding because he has cold feet. You can't tell me that there's any other reason. This man thinks that he's just got all this wealth, and he looks down on Liz and sees her as this woman needing a handout, and he's realizing he's going to have to actually step up to the plate and be a good father for her daughter as well, or father figure, I should say. And maybe all that pressure is really adding up for Ed, and that's the reason he had to bow out of this wedding, but he's really trying to make us hate Liz for some reason, when in reality, this guy's probably the most hated member of the 90 Day Fiancé cast entirely. Like, maybe Angela takes the cake above him, but that's not really saying anything. They're both grotesque and terrible people.
It sucks when you know it's not going to work.
So Ed, tell me, what made this so certain in your mind that it's not going to work? Because you guys have broken up 13 other damn times. Again, most of these happening because of Big Ed, probably around times where, their relationship was really starting to up in its serious level, and he had to commit a little bit more. And this man-child just bows out every single time, so now he's acting all old and wise. Like, it sucks when you just realize that you're just, you're just fundamentally different people, and the relationship's not going to work. Like, buddy, we've been telling you that for 4 years, but you've been lying to yourself. Why are you choosing now of all times to see the light when you were this close to being married and having the family of your dreams?
I don't want to be here in this place right now. I want to be planning a wedding, but you can't plan something that is going to fail.
This dude is so full of shit. It actually hurts me to watch him speak. First of all, Ed, you would actually love to be here because you feed off of drama. Your entire life is drama, and when there's no drama, you create it for yourself because that's the only way you could feel fulfilled and have power over sad people like Liz. He's acting like it was really out of his control. He didn't want to fight, but, Liz was just the one who had such a wuss of a kid who couldn't handle his damn taco pasta. He only put in like a handful of red pepper flakes in there. How the hell did you think it was too spicy? This kid's an idiot. It's all the kid's fault, and it's Liz's fault. She's the one who yelled at me. Like, buddy can just blame everybody but himself and act like he's the good guy, but we all know he's lying through his damn teeth.
I moved halfway across the country, paid for everything, got us a house, spent months putting together Riley's room and planning the summer for Riley. And
so now he starts listing off all the things he's done, and this is just another clear indicator of how much of a master manipulator Big Ed truly is. If you guys have had any narcissistic partners in your past, first off, I feel very sorry for you. Hopefully you're healing from that. Second off, you probably recognize just about every move that Big Ed is making. All these things, him buying the house, him making the nice room for Riley to stay for the summer, him paying to help them move, all of this stuff was done only as a way for him to get poker chips in their fight and for him to have some, ammunition of things that he's done for her so he can list them off like this and be like, look at all I've done for her and she's done nothing for me besides, close her eyes every time we kiss and every time we do anything else. And also she holds back vomits when, I'm around her and we're cuddling and all that stuff. She does gag quite a bit just being around me and my smell, but besides that, she doesn't do shit for this relationship.
And she has to treat me like in front of my family. Like, it's no man would stand for that. I can't imagine starting off a marriage on two wrong feet.
This dude is straight up slandering right now, bro. He's sitting here alone as he's waiting for Liz. Again, I don't know about the time frame of this, but I'm pretty sure this was like a couple hours after he was hanging out with his sister in the last episode. This has still only been a few days, but he still has not said a single thing to Liz besides demanding that she shows up to this bar in the middle of the day in order to hash this out with him. And he's just sitting here talking all this trash like the little rat man that he is.
I was single for 30 years after my first divorce, and it was very difficult for me. It's not something that I want to do again.
And honestly, I feel terrible for whoever Ed pursues after Liz because a lot of his behavior, I think, stems from the fact that he is so old, so lonely, so insecure, and so worried of dying old, fat, and alone like he probably will unless he drastically changes how he acts. That is kind of the reason that he's so shitty to these people that he loves. So I gotta imagine when he's 60-something and he's still trying to date somebody that he's way out of their league, way below their league, I should say, he's just gonna be vitriolic as hell and so manipulative to them, like to a level that we couldn't even fathom. And already he's terrible with Liz.
You think you have your whole life ahead of you and you don't. At my age, you realize that life is short and I just can't marry Liz.
And I love that he gives us all this old man knowledge. This guy started actually not box dyeing his hair black and letting us see the gray hairs that he's had for probably a good decade now. And now he wants to pull the old man card and act all holy and all mighty and all knowledgeable. Shut up, dude. Like, nobody's taking your life advice. If we followed any of your footsteps, we would be old, decrepit, sad, and lonely like you are, and that's nothing any of us want to be. You're right, you don't have much life ahead of you in terms of finding love that's going to be long-term, so if you're messing this up, you better have a damn good reason, besides you just being a wuss.
Hey, what's up?
Do you think that's a healthy place to have a conversation? And then you don't care to think about where Riley is gonna go?
So finally we get a call from Liz, who is acting like she might not be showing up, and there's a good reason for that. This man literally hit her up an hour ago, said, hey, show up to this bar, I don't care what you do with your daughter, like, find a babysitter, she's not mine, I don't care, and let's hash this out since you want to talk so bad about why I don't want to get married. If it was up to me, I'd just ghost you and never talk to you again, because I'm a complete coward, but I guess if you want to talk about it, we could do it at this weird bar. To which Liz is like, dude, that's unrealistic as hell, and I gotta say, this is another tactic. We want to talk about narcissistic relationships. I can't say that word for some reason today. This is another massive play in these manipulators' toolbooks. This guy is going to be going out of his way to ask her to do the impossible task of finding a babysitter, getting over to this bar, and having this very, very private, intense conversation around people so that, one, he can hopefully get her to freak out, which helps corroborate his story that she freaked out on him so much that he has so much shame around his family now that he just simply has to call off the wedding, or it forces her to not be able to show up to where he can say, yep, I tried. What can I say? I told her to meet me and she's the one that doesn't want to be an adult and show up and talk. It's like so BS, and he's setting her up for failure right now, which is 1000% on purpose.
Liz, you're her mom. You haven't spoke to me in 3 days. I don't know what.
Spoke to me in 3 days, and I did call. All of a sudden, you just text me.
And this guy is such a victim. Oh my God. Every single time he opens his mouth, it's him bitching and moaning about his own life and his own wrongdoings that he caused. You're the one that's not been talking to her, man. You called off the wedding and you've been dodging her calls until now. And he's like, it's your daughter. I don't know, get a babysitter. I literally don't care. Which also, I guess that he was going to say that. I was joking that he was going to be that douchey, but no, he actually was. And now he's just acting like he's the one who's being left in the dark. Dude, you called off the wedding out of the blue, and she still has no idea why.
Liz, Saturday night, you blew up in front of my sister and my family.
Right now, we're trying to this conversation
No.
needs to happen, but right now we're trying to figure out where we're going to meet to talk.
Listen to how Liz has to talk to this man-child, which I'm very glad she's putting him in his place right now. He's trying to hash this out on the phone. He instantly is like, Liz, you literally screamed in my face in front of my family. Remember that? And she's like, yeah, okay, maybe that's how you see it, but I don't want to talk about that right now. That's what we're going to talk about. Right now, we're talking about where we can actually have this conversation where it's going to be productive and I'm going to be able to speak my mind without feeling like other people are judging me, or also that I can't find a safe place for my daughter to be while we have the conversation. But meanwhile, this dude's just trying to get the hard part over with. I think he's such a coward. He's truly afraid of facing her face to face and knew that she wouldn't be able to show up.
Divorce nest is not a healthy place to have this conversation. Are you listening to what I'm saying?
You sound like my mother.
Yeah, Ed, she sounds like your mother because you are acting like a child. So she literally has to speak to you like a child. I don't know what this dude doesn't understand about this dynamic. You get spoken to like a child when you behave like one, okay? Mr. 50-something-year-old?
I don't care, Liz. We can have this conversation over the phone.
I feel like Ed's just going to say the same things that he's always said before.
And Liz sounds very over it. I don't know how she hasn't been over it for a couple years now, but you're right. He is going to say the same things as he does before because you let him. I mean, he says this manipulative, crappy stuff to you, and you keep crawling back to it because you have this dysfunctional, terribly broken mindset and relationship with this guy, and it just needs to stop, please. Also, I love that Ed admits he would love to just hash it out over the phone because he really is an over-the-phone guy. You cannot talk to this dude face-to-face and expect any amount of seriousness. He just doesn't possess that bone in his body, I don't think.
I'm scared because I don't want this relationship to be over. I put all my eggs in one basket moving out here, and
I see your tears, Liz. I see your tears, and that's why it pains me to say this, but I don't give a f***. You are the bozo that put your eggs in one basket, a basket that was already shown to have holes and fire damage and like whatever else damage a basket could have that would make it a not good place to store your eggs. You saw all the freaking signs and you still put your eggs there thinking that they weren't going to get squished. None of your chicks are going to hatch, bro. You are f***ed.
it is terrifying to lose someone that, I fought so hard to be with.
Also, listen to yourself. You said this is the hardest you've ever fought for a relationship. Anybody who's been in a serious relationship will understand this. Yes, there is a certain amount of work that goes into loving another person and being loved yourself because humans are complex people, but you shouldn't have to fight for a relationship. That is not a good word to describe a healthy relationship that is smooth, that should be happening. If you have to fight, that means there's friction, and friction is a sign that you are not meant to be together. And I see these teary eyes, they really do hurt. I'm not lying. Like, I'm not heartless, but at a certain point, they just don't do anything else for me because she sounds like a broken record right now, and like all the signs in the world are telling you to leave this sorry dude. Again, I'm really praying she can somehow weasel her way back into that restaurant job opportunity that she had back in California.
You know how I feel. I don't want to move forward with marriage. I already got my deposit back.
Have a conversation then. If your mind's made up and you don't want to have a conversation with me,
And this dude is just behaving like a toddler throwing a tantrum right now. Yeah, I'm not even going to change my mind, so I don't even want to talk to you about it because you're not even going to change my mind about it because I literally just want to divorce you and that's it, okay? You're such an idiot. Like, I just imagine he's stomping right now as he's leaving this bar in anger. And he's acting all cool, but we know this dude's going to come crawling back when the clout runs out or he becomes lonely again and realizes that nobody else wants to touch him with a 10-foot pole.
What I want now is for us to both be adults. We're not meant to be together. That's all this is. We're not meant to be together.
It is so rich that he's like, I just want us to both be adults. As we see him literally acting like a 7-year-old. He shouldn't even be allowed in this bar right now. I know they carded him, but just based off of behavior alone, he's not old enough to be here.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with me. We're just two separate people that it's never going to work.
And I'm sorry, Ed, there's a lot wrong with you, and there's also a lot wrong with Liz. And you saw that there was a lot wrong with Liz. And frankly, that is why he chose to pursue somebody like this, because he knew that he would be able to enact power over her based off of those problems that she has. And that's really where the true toxicity of their relationship lies.
I texted you 2 hours ago. I'll meet you anywhere you want me to meet, but my mind's made up. Liz, my mind's made up, regardless.
So now he literally realizes he's not going to get his way. He's not going to be able to have this conversation in the bar like he wants. So he starts just talking over her like, again, a toddler that's in a fight that just learned how to talk and realizes if they make more noise than mommy, then they win the argument because mommy just gives up.
Made up, regardless, my mind is made up, okay? I don't know what to expect out of you. Oh, she hung up.
And in the end, she just has to hang up on his ass because clearly she's not going to get anywhere on the phone with this guy. I have to imagine some of the fights they've had that are not televised have to be some of the most annoying things you could ever endure. Like this man's manipulation, his way of talking, and when he gets angry and just so red-faced, it literally drives me up the wall. And sadly, that's all we got for this week's episode of Big Ed. I mean, again, they're still not even talking face-to-face, but I have to imagine next episode they finally do. Regardless, though, I just had to react to this because you guys know I love getting angry at the mess that is this relationship, and oh my god, is it doing my head in. After all these years of following it, I have a sunk cost fallacy and I can't stop following it until it's over. But at this point, it feels endless. So let me know what you thought down in the comments below. If you made it all the way to the end, comment Grim Squad for life. As always, thanks for subscribing and liking the video, and until next time, peace out.